New hour. It's a brand new hour. This is the word of victory. My name is Mike BAMIDELE. I'm privileged by God to be brought to your way today as his messenger to give you a word from the Lord, a word of victory, a word that will put you over present challenges and future challenges, a word that will make you a victor, a champion, a winner, a prevailer, an overcomer over whatsoever you come across in life, a word that will make you distribute victory all around you.
Covenant people sing with me. Supernatural power, dependable, Jehovah Most High. Now you be the original God. My voice will I lift in praise unto your name. Supernatural power, dependable, Jehovah Most High. Now you be the original God.
You can enjoy God's grace in a greater dimension if you can fast. Fasting not only multiplies grace, fasting explodes grace. There's an explosion of grace when you fast. If prayer brings greater grace, fasting brings explosion of grace. And you can quickly discover that from the life of Esther in Esther chapter 4, verse 15 and 16. Esther chapter 4, verse 15 and 16. She needed the favor. She needed grace. She needed help. Not only on her behalf, but on the behalf of her race. And there was a law already that forbade anyone from appearing before the king. Now, it will take extra grace for you to now be welcomed when there is an existing law preventing your appearance. You need higher grace. You need higher grace. You need explosive grace. Because the penalty for appearing before the king was death. So it was a big time risk to go into the presence of the king and still expect to be alive when he had not invited you. Now, she decided to fast. And she didn't fast alone. She had a corporate fast. All her girls that were working with her, her handmaidens, her servants, her, support, her helpers, all the domestic staff that she had, they were compelled to fast. Not only were they compelled to fast, Mordecai had an instruction also to raise those who will fast. So there were a community of fasters, if you like, a community of people fasting. And their one point was the preservation of the Jews, and that when Esther appears before the king, she will have an audience. So they were looking for grace, and the way they got into grace was fasting. So the more they fasted, that is, they subdued the natural desire for food, water, and other pleasures. Now, grace from heaven now had access to reach them. They reduced the natural in order to increase the supernatural. They reduced the natural in order to increase the supernatural. That is, the desire for food, the desire for pleasure was now packaged for desire for God and desire for his grace. So there was multiple desire. There is the natural desire for food, which everybody has from the day he's born. That's why he sucks his mother's breast, and without anybody training him before. So there's that natural desire and that natural ability. It's the physical one for the flesh was suspended and combined with the one for the spirit that wanted to reach God. So desire plus desire plus desire plus several desires all coming together towards one thing multiplied that desire. So the reply to that desire became multiple release of grace over the matter that was being said. So explosive grace was at work. By the time she appeared before the king had no choice but to lift the scepter, because forces that were working were the forces of God's grace. There was no way he wouldn't have acted that way, because grace had come down. Grace had surrounded Esther. Grace had surrounded her clothes. God had surrounded her person. Grace was operating in the heart of the king. His heart had been bombarded in God's presence, to be surrounded with grace and grace. So he lifted the scepter and said, Esther, can I help you? Please come over here. I'd like to listen to you. And the laws were suspended for her. I see laws of nations suspended for you. I see laws suspended in companies for your favor. I see laws suspended to just give you an entry, because that's what grace is all about. Getting it where others cannot get it. Getting it when others will not get it. Going further than others can ever get to. That's the operation of grace. Being distinguished. You say, this guy is graced. God's grace is at work in him. You can be a candidate of the grace of God. You just introduce fasting into your life. Sometimes an hour fast, a day fast, sometimes a regular fast. It could be a 6-hour fast every day for the next 1 year in your life. It becomes a habit. 12-hour fast, 6 a.m., 6 p.m., without food or without water, or any fast that your health can take. But you are joining desires plus desires, and you are increasing your desire in the presence of God. It's you that fast ultimately changes, but it increases the volume of your desire in the presence of God, and God responds according to our desire. He said, the desire of the righteous shall be granted. The desire of the righteous shall be granted. What things soever you desire, when you pray, believe that you receive them, and ye shall have them. So the stronger your desire before God, your desperation before God, the more God responds to you. Blind Bartimaeus cried, Jesus, where are you? Jesus, I'm here. Jesus, don't pass me by. That intensity and fervency that was genuine from his heart, heaven responded. You know, David said, as the deer pants for the water brook, so my soul pants after you, O God. I long to see you, God. I want to see your power. God had no way but to come down. They that fast and hunger after righteousness shall be filled. So God responds to the intensity of our search for him. If you shall seek me with all your heart, you will find me. So he's looking for the extent, the genuineness with which you are looking for him. And when you go fasting, you have crossed one boundary. You have got to another boundary of showing your intensity of desire and your love for the things that you really want. And the proof of desire is that you pursue the things that you actually wanted to see. Will you like to increase grace on your life? Go ahead and do it. You have been told the way of victory and the word of victory. Esther chapter 4, verse 15 and 16.